We now think of them as inseparable, fraternal twins, but the truth is that the birthday of the Hammond organ predated the Leslie by 7 years. It was a creation of that instrument in 1935 that directly led to the development of the Leslie. The man behind the invention was Donald J. Leslie, an engineer who worked for a firm that made parts for the Hammond Organ Company. Don was also a music buff and became interested in this new, marvelous instrument. But there was something that just wasn't right to his ear. Lawrence Hammond intended his organ to play in churches and classical concert halls. Don, who loved the mighty Wurlitzer theater organ, wished that the Hammond organ could sound a little softer. After some experimentation, Don Leslie hit an idea that would put motion into the sound of the Hammond organ. Don Leslie capitalized on a principle called the Doppler effect. It's why a train whistle seems to go down in pitch when a train passes you. Don took a horn speaker and made it go around in a circle. Bingo! A legend was born. The spinning horn gave the Hammond organ what is called, in the pipe organ world, a tremulant, vibrato, and a little whoosh of air all put together. It made the Hammond organ sound completely different. The Hammond's life in all popular music, jazz, rock, pop, was born at that moment. Don Leslie thought he had hit on a miracle, and rightly so. He promptly took his hot invention right to Lawrence Hammond, but as fate would have it,
rejected.
Lawrence Hammond hated the idea. He meant for his organ to play church and classical music, but Don Leslie knew he had something golden. So he went into business for himself, producing the music innovation that was called vibratone, the pipe voice of the electric organ. The legendary theater organist Jesse Crawford was among the first to popularize the sound of the Hammond and vibratone combination, and did he ever. In fact, for a while, what we now know as Leslie's were popularly called Crawford or Hollywood speakers. And yes, the rumor is true. Hammond dealers were not allowed to sell Leslie speakers. They couldn't even acknowledge that there was such a thing. Musicians are resourceful, and organists from every corner embrace the combination. Somewhere along the way, the vibratone became the Leslie vibratone, and ultimately just the Leslie. Eventually, a 2-speed motor was added to get the distinctive slow Leslie sound. Any tune's excitement level could be boosted by having the organist glissando to a high C while simultaneously switching from slow to fast speed. In 1958, Don again tried to sell his company to Hammond, but the old man was stubborn and rejected it again. Don then let the beast out of the cage, licensing his invention to many other organ manufacturers, while continuing to practically match Hammond's production one for one. Who wanted a Hammond without a Leslie? The company was so successful that Electro Music, as Don's company was called, never had to advertise. Don Leslie eventually sold Electro Music and moved on with his life, happily, but never again made such an earth-shattering invention. He died in 2004 at the ripe old age of 93 and was as sharp as a tack to his last day. Don never sought the limelight as some of his contemporaries did, so you don't hear of Don Leslie the way you do Les Paul, Leo Fender, or Bob Moog, but his contribution was just as important. For many years now, Hammond organs and Leslie speakers have been made under the same roof, under the Hammond-Suzuki roof. Many of our engineers were close personal friends with Don Leslie. I became friends with him as well, but you know his spirit still lives on.